Welcome to the Inside Integration Podcast. My name is Chris. I am joined, as always, by my partner, Jayson.
What's up, everybody?
And welcome to episode 52. We have officially been at this for a year.
That is pretty crazy to think about, actually.
I still, whatever. Can't believe it. But and with that comes some changes that we want to get right out there, right up front, before you tune away, which our metric says that you do at 3 minutes. So we're going to get it in before that.
Get it in there.
This is going to be the last episode on this feed. We are going to be changing over to a dedicated YouTube channel. You can find that at Inside Integration on YouTube. I will put links in the description and the show notes and everything else. We are also going to move over to a separate feed in Apple Podcasts. So Inside Integration will be available as a separate feed. And again, once I have that link after this episode posts, I will put that in the description, and that's where you can find us. So we've built the house. We are going to now tear it down, and we are going to rebuild it bigger and better. The new stuff. We're doing this to kind of get this thing a little bit more independent than being a podcast put on by a rep firm. This is going to become just kind of me and Jayson industry insights, not necessarily limited to the lines that we represent and everything else. Our opinions are our own and not of any companies that we work for or manufacturers that we represent or anything else. This will be a little bit more unfiltered, maybe.
There may be curse words.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some
That's
curse
not
words.
the only reason to do a podcast, but you may let a little color slip once in a while.
Yeah, a little color, maybe work a little realness into this thing.
I like that. Facts,
Right.
the trials and tribulations, the real stuff. So, and as much as we can do that, but I think with a healthy vein of our industry and where we're at, sort of as the background for the format of the conversation.
Sure.
I'm excited about who we can talk to and what we can put together to make that meaningful and make that something that people want to listen to.
That's the whole goal, right? We do this mainly for therapy every week for the two of us, but also to kind of bring into the industry. Like this is the world that we live in, and there's some pretty great stories in it, and we're gonna try and keep bringing that to you. So.
Absolutely.
And, for what it's worth, man, 52 episodes. It's been great doing it with you. And,
and this is over now. Thank you. Bye.
Click.
Yeah. I just press the hang up button. I'm edging my finger towards the cursor. Just like, do I press it now? How about now? I want to press it now.
You want a podcast? You got Ugats.
You get Ugats.
But seriously, it's been great. I don't know if anybody has listened to every single episode of this thing throughout the entire time, besides me and you. But it's been great. It's been a great experience. It's been great doing it with you. It's been great doing it under the Oliver Marketing umbrella, which is folding up, and excited for the next step, really.
Yeah, I think, as all things do, change is inevitable and things morph into other things, and there is that whole convergence. So we're starting to see some other rep firms around the country either have started podcasts or are already doing video podcasts or, whatever they're doing. So it's very clear that, Howard Stern has influenced an entire generation of people that were driving around in vans and doing sales calls and stuff like that, and empowered them to voice their opinion. Whether or not it's Howard is your influence or not, it's very clear that there's a lot of people with a lot of stuff to say, and there's some valuable kernels of knowledge that drop out of there once in a while, and depending on where your head's at or what you're thinking about, we want to continue to deliver content that's relevant to what you're thinking about, maybe with a little sense of humor and also with a fair amount of sarcasm and jadedness that we're worn down by time and history to maybe contextualize some of the things that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis.
There's too many stories in this industry that just kind of if you're in the industry, maybe you know about some of this stuff, but maybe us sharing our experiences and having them be the same as your experiences are, feels good, right? This
Sure.
is we're a lot in the same across this country as we're kind of chugging forward, and it's been great to just kind of share those things, and excited to continue doing it, maybe with a little bit more leeway to do these things, since it's under our banner now, and we're taking it on.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Do I get a 1099 at the end of the year,
No,
or
we don't get
do I
paid
get
for
to
this.
do
There's
I get to write
no.
all of this off?
This is completely charitable. This is something that,
Oh man,
going forward, these episodes are going to be done, outside of work hours, because we're going to be buried doing other stuff. But
this is true.
it becomes more of a labor of love.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, I was already shopping for my 6,000 pound gross vehicle weight write off because we're incorporating. So, you're getting a Rivian, and I think I'm getting one too.
I mean, if you're, we can totally go off track on this, but if you're truly looking for that kind of thing, there is a surplus of Teslas in the area that.
I don't really I'm not into the whole angular thing, and I'm not trying
Oh,
to steal the direction of where we're going with our show here, but I was just, I was off in my dreamland when you were talking about setting up our own podcast, and I was like, oh, this is a business now. What can I write off?
there you go.
Like what can we acquire for us personally
We're gonna
that looks like a business expense?
we're
That's
gonna
what I'm trying to
have
figure out.
we're gonna have an inside integration Cybertruck that's
No, we're not.
vinyl
That's
wrapped,
not
and
true.
no, this is the direction we're going.
Okay.
But
In California, maybe.
yeah, well, and the best part about it is it's going to provide so much exposure, because it's going to be constantly broken down on the side of the five, because that's
Oh.
what they do, and that'll get the word out there. 10,000 cars a day passing by a broken down Cybertruck on the side of the five. That's where we're going. That's our marketing strategy. Bank on that.
All right. Well, I mean, is it actually broken down, or are you just laying down in there having a
No,
nap
no,
for a few hours?
I turned on the windshield washer, and the thing just short circuited and fried out. So
Oh,
that's where
but it'll still go into dog mode, so you can just have air
I
conditioning and
I don't know. I mean, the last I heard is that you put the thing through a car wash and it just totally bricks on you. So that's what that's what I'm going by, is that.
I could see you missing that in testing.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't think that
Listen,
anybody would.
hey, not everybody can catch anything in QC, okay? Right? Like, who would have ever thought that a vehicle would need to be outside? I didn't. Wasn't something I planned for.
Water. This is a boat. It's a car. What are you doing?
Anyway, so yeah, but no, yeah, the Rivians are nice, but even higher twinkle in my eye now is, I don't know if you've seen the Scout, the International Harvester Scout that they've
I
announced.
saw that thing firsthand at a little event in Vegas here last week.
Good segue. Yes, there you go. So yeah, that I think the thing that definitely made my pants tight was the I don't know if you saw the bench front seat as an option. I don't know what about that appeals to me. Maybe it's just my zennial brain unsafely bouncing around the front seat of a vehicle. But dude,
You want your dad's arm or your mom's
bullshit.
arm or your grandmother's arm as they slam on the brakes to clap you across the ribs and midsection, so you don't actually go over the dashboard out the out the windshield.
Right,
So,
your life is in Dad's reaction time's hands, right?
and you better hope he was drinking his beer that day, not his whiskey.
got his old Milwaukee open between his legs. No, we're talking.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. But so yeah, how was CES? Let's get into that, brother.
Oh well, I went there and we had this build up because it was like the day before I went, and it was like, oh, you're in the Super Bowl, and I was rating it very highly, I think, in my mind, more or less kind of to hype myself up for it, because I knew it was going to be probably not exactly targeted to what we do. And that did not disappoint me because it's so different from even when I went 5 years ago. Like prior to 2020 versus 2025 is markedly different in terms of who's there, what's there. Like the central hall, which is kind of the main area for video manufacturers, for the major consumer electronics manufacturers, Central Hall is kind of like where it's at.
Hmm.
And it was all in there, but the centerpieces were not your typical manufacturers you represent or that you would even be aware of.
Right, right,
Guangdong Partners and, of course, Hisense and TCL.
right.
Panasonic was there. So some of the booths that would have normally been full of handheld personal electronics and headphones and tchotchkes and stuff like that. It was all big concepts. It was all about their family of products, their ecosystem. So, you think about Hisense in particular, they've got refrigerators, ice makers, vacuums,
Right.
robots. They've got
Shipping containers.
whatever it is,
Sure.
right? And then TVs.
Hmm.
So like they're really good at all of these things. They're obviously a component OEM for a lot of other manufacturers around the planet. They just have scraped these little ideas off or come up with these concepts on their own or blatantly copied them however they acquired the designs, and voila, there you go. Like Hisense, for example, had a backlighting demo that you and I may or may not be familiar with from
Less than a year
one of
ago.
our,
Right.
from one of our manufacturers. Blatant copy, absolutely. Was it effective on the floor? 100%. There were people walking by looking at that blue backlighting demo going, hey, I can see the picture on the backlighting system of this display. So, to relate that to somebody like Sony, it's very clear that the Chinese maybe manufacturing a lot of the raw components here, but they're also looking at what is being done and doing their very best to emulate it and get there in terms of picture quality and stuff like that. So my big takeaway from all of the big TV stuff and all of the big majors there was, I think, probably big three ones. Modular video is absolutely a thing and
Sure.
is coming and is going to be the next big commodity, I would say, for home entertainment. It's very clear. Just it's out there, chip on board, whatever that looks like.
Right.
It's coming.
Just out of reach at this point, but definitely the path is, at some point, plasma TVs were 50 grand a piece.
Yeah. Engineered solutions
Sure.
in the sub six figures in like the 168 inch, zero point 0.9 pixel pitch, stuff like that. I think it's realistic, honestly. So it may not be, quantum media level fidelity or DCI compliant or any of that stuff.
Sure,
But
sure.
the high water mark is coming down for
Right.
what that stuff's going to look like.
But I mean, so that, and it seems like something that's going to build into a competitor for two-piece projection as we're
It's going to
used
build
to.
into competitors for decor.
Sure.
It's going to build into shower doors and accent. Like all of this stuff is all converging. As much as things are entropic, order to disorder.
Right.
They're all collimating into this giant pimple before that explodes. Right. So it's all becoming one big thing.
Sure.
Again, modular video is absolutely a thing. The large format display, 100-inch plus, that's of course absolutely going to be the next realm as as we kind of bridge that gap to pre-configured modulars. Hey, I can just buy 115 or 116-inch TV. That 1 inch made a huge difference between those two vendors.
Certainly.
It was a major,
All glass
major
size,
deal.
sure.
Hey, this is 116 inches. It's not 115. You don't need that little one. You need the big one over
That's
here.
minor league stuff, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
bush league. And we'll see those displays. I would say currently in the $25,000, $30,000 wheelhouse for our guys. Sign them up,
Yeah.
right? That's exactly where they want to be. I don't think those vendors have the supply to be able to make meaningful inroads into the space yet, but just having the boxes out there and showing them, and nobody else has got them that big.
Yeah.
Very, very compelling.
And they're modular, so you don't have to worry about trying to get a 100-inch flat panel around a corner, or
Well, no,
You
I
know?
was talking like outside from the modular
Hmm.
displays, like the big like 115s, 116s.
Oh, sure.
That'll come in a box,
Just a
and if you
big
can
piece of
get it in the
glass. Right.
house,
Got it.
if you got a sliding glass door, if you've got a pool,
Hmm.
two guys can pick up this display. It's less than 200 pounds, and just mind-boggling, right? Like just think about
Crazy. Crazy how
how
big
many
that is.
ruptured discs you have from picking up CRTs and stuff
That
in your
400
day.
pound Trinitron that you waltzed up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
sure.
God. Sure you did. Yeah. 32-inch by yourself. Good idea.
Hmm.
Good. Great moves. And I
Yeah.
think my last impression from from the big majors and from video world in general is just the the plateau is near, right? Like
Mm.
or we're on it. So we're going to see things that get brighter. We're going to see higher frame rates. We're going to see those things sort of incrementally happen with displays.
Hmm.
But I didn't see anything revolutionary in terms of
I mean,
technology or platform or fidelity or any of those things to drive a new premium. So it's going to be size and
right.
application that's going to drive the premium.
Right. Because years ago, it was the inclusion of 3D. And then it was a
4K.
curve. Yeah. And then it was a curve. And then it was 4K. And then it was so nothing like that. No big form factors, no nothing, no crazy
Nope.
refresh rates or anything else. We're smooth sailing.
160 165 I
Okay.
think is the new
Hmm.
peak for super high frame rate. Like I went into like PC nerd world like just to cruise by and peek into that land because I'm an Nvidia shareholder and I wanted to see
Sure.
what they've got cooking. Don't
5090 coming soon.
don't understand anything about it. Take my money. It's clearly something people are into. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? But
Right. Right.
the new super quantum computer, it's like $3,000. It's like this little Mac Mini style program that you can rack mount next to several other little mini computers to make server farms and to do super efficient Bitcoin mining or whatever you're up to.
Right. Rendering and that sort of thing. Sure.
Unbelievable technology. So from what I saw there, I think video and monitors and that kind of stuff is really just going to be dictated by what graphics cards and what they can feed us
Right.
from that end. So pretty cool. Generally, I would say the show was smaller than normal in terms of attendance because the scrutiny to get in is much higher,
Hmm.
but the footprint of the show is massive. So there's one, two, four, excuse me, four halls now in the convention center in Las
Wow.
Vegas. They were all full.
Wow.
The Sphere is really, really cool. So
Sure.
go to Vegas and check out the Sphere.
That's cool.
It was what it was. But to circle back to our earlier, things that made an impression, vehicles are part and parcel of that. And the Scout was out there, so they had the SUV and they had the pickup truck. I got a chance to watch some guy speak German and be really excited about the
Well,
Scout and use a lot of German words and Dutch words in expletive form to talk about. He was excited about the interior and stuff like that. I'm not going to attempt to mock him or
sure.
even try to say any of those words because I'll probably spit all over my microphone or monitor here. But yeah, really, really cool to be there. But I have to say, I don't know if I'll be going back for a few years yet, unless there is something really relevant
Just a
to
little
our channel
dab, a
there.
little dabble, do you? What what kind of audio stuff? Now you talked a lot about video stuff. I know that's your
Sure.
wheelhouse. What kind of audio stuff did you see?
You know,
Anything?
the list was pretty short.
Mhm.
Bose and Macintosh had meeting rooms. They were not demo spaces. It was more about the bigger concepts of what they were doing. Dyn Audio had a
Mhm.
little display there, but they're after that OEM business. I think that's really where the
Right.
branding of those nameplates is heading, right? So it's not maybe not so much about Frank Marantz or whoever, these
Right.
or whoever founded these companies
Hmm.
tinkering away in their workshop anymore with a valve and
Right.
trying to make it valve amp trying to make it sound like whatever they want to put they want to put Macintosh logo or the whatever logo on a car stereo in a factory,
Slap it
you know,
on, get it
factory
into
automobile.
50,000 units, and
Yeah,
sure.
like even the Massimo office, like they were listed there as a vendor.
Hmm.
It was a closed door situation. So whether they're working through the next plans or maybe I just wasn't invited. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah,
There,
but they
there
weren't
was
out
some
there exhibiting something, right? Like
there
there
was there
wasn't
was
a,
not a lot of stuff being shown. For audio products that I saw, there was a section in the South Hall that was full of nothing but Chinese manufacturers. Like it was literally called the China Hall.
hmm,
So and there it was sectioned off by cities. So one thing that I didn't really realize or know, but internally within China, there's different provinces and different cities that are in absolute direct competition with each other.
right,
So like
right.
Shenzhen and Guangdong and like these, they had the names of these cities were above the like businesses and the manufacturers that were underneath them. So there was Chinese people displaying Chinese goods, having conversations with other Chinese people, or I was like, I don't
Right.
exactly understand all of the geopolitical stuff going on here, but it was really interesting to get that little tidbit. I was like, I thought you guys were all working together,
Yeah,
like
it's not homogenous.
communist country. No, no, no. They're
Oh,
they're there to stab each other in the neck and get that money. So, that was kind of that was kind of interesting to see. But yeah, like just all of the different parts and pieces. Um, where it's all headed is very it's just kind of wild, man. So I
yeah,
would say that I'll never go again because it is interesting to sort of put your thumb up in the air and get the wind going by and figure out exactly what's going on with the industry, or kind of get a look at, hey, Samsung was touting this, wireless TV, or Sony was showing off their Last of Us experience,
hmm,
which was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. If they're going to roll that out nationally and polish it up a little bit, I can see that being a pretty exciting thing to go and be a part of. But it's certainly not a hardware focused show anymore. Certainly not for the majors anyway.
sure. Did you see any covered video? We covered audio. Did you see any
Oh,
control
sorry.
system stuff that was interesting? Nothing really,
I
right? Like,
Nothing really, like, and even like with the audio stuff, like it was really limited. In the Chinese section I was talking about, there was companies that were like that had what I would have say faithfully reproduced clone looking products for valve powered
hmm,
headphone amplifiers, and something that looked like a big name mini system, which
hmm,
is like big name audio system, but somebody had stuck it in the dryer,
sure,
so it had like the really sharp angles and the details of what a name audio system would look like, but
right.
it
Same
obviously
design
not named
cues, but its
exactly,
own.
just but its own
Interesting.
thing. So there was a little bit of that, but again, the high end audio show that used to be there in years past, gone.
Nah.
And it's not really a thing. Focal was there. I did not get a chance to get in and see that booth, but minimal representation on that front compared to where it has been in the past. So yeah, and
Yeah.
for like control, Samsung was really big on smart things in
Interesting.
their booth.
Okay.
So they had a whole thing about the simulation of like a ship.
Hmm.
Like here's your boat, and you can control everything on the boat through smart things, and it's all Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or Z-Wave
Interesting.
connectivity. So
Yeah, I saw a bunch of stuff come out from Shelly. I mean, Shelly's one of
I
those that
I,
are
I
near and
looked
dear
at
to
their
my
booth.
heart.
It was huge.
Yeah,
Like
they
they're like, look, but it's all like you look at it. It's all $20 widgets,
yep,
right? Like it's
little widgets. They have a now they have a touchscreen that's actually pretty interesting. Again, like I kind of follow those guys close. That's one of those like discovered this thing in a box years ago, and like now I'm just rooting for them to transform the world.
right.
So it's yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. But they have a touchscreen, and they're specifically pushing this touchscreen to work with Home Assistant, which is really kind of an interesting take now that like Home Assistant getting more stable, getting easier to do. Like I wonder if if there's a percentage or part of the custom installer sphere who's just they've been through C4, they've been through Savant, they've been through Crestron, and now I wonder if we're going to start seeing guys roll their own, right? Or or, you know, putting like Home Assistant into somebody's house, if it's really that reliable, like what's the difference? Honestly, you know, what's the, you know, if there's touch panels that'll control it, if there's gear that works with it, if it's pretty easy to configure, like what's the,
Yeah, if these things are just switches on the network and
yeah,
you've got some sort of aggregate, again, whether that's a Josh AI or a full-blown control system, or maybe it's just a couple of apps that you switch between, and
sure.
you can use what did I see a trick? Oh, some you can do like some automations on your iPhone, to create macros and stuff on your phone. Like you can create some little scenes. Like, okay, it's not exactly Crestron, but if you're dropping shades and setting the mood light and getting the music on,
Well, that's,
if you get over the finish line, you're over the finish line, bud.
well, I'll tell you, as I mean, I've run my house on Apple Home for a long time, and that's just because I have a Franken system, right? Like part of it is Savant, part of it is Lutron, part of it is Control 4. It's all the crap that I've accumulated over years of doing this stuff, and because I'm cheap, pulled out of the trash, literally.
Hey there.
And maybe you're like
I
me.
can hear what you're saying.
But there's certain things that you can you can run it, like for example on a NAS in my system I have a piece of software that takes devices and it makes them look like Apple devices, and that's how you get everything into the same boat. But my family and I have been running things on Apple Home for years now, 5 years or so, and scheduling and everything from changing the color of light bulbs and turning on TVs and off TVs and that sort of thing, and it works pretty well. It's easy enough for my wife and my kids to just kind of pick it up and go, and I could totally see that as being a thing going forward, where maybe you have a big integrator who invests some time into building out their own specific flavor of Home Assistant, and now that's what they put into systems, and it's not Savant or it's not Crestron or it's not whatever, and maybe it's reliable enough. I don't know, but it seems interesting, and especially with the smart things example that you gave, like why wouldn't that sort of thing kind of bubble up, right? So now it's for do-it-yourselfers, it's for people who buy a Samsung TV and have a Samsung phone that these things talk to each other,
Yep.
maybe a Samsung robot vac or whatever it is.
AI
Okay,
assistant in your house.
why not?
Little like that was one of the things that TCL was showing. They all have different skins on it, but I would say you've got the was it the TCL pink baby robot vacuum assistant creepy thing rolling around the house that is part security system, part home monitor, part vacuum, or let me make sure that the dishes are done, or the stuff's ordered for DoorDash or whatever all that stuff's doing. And like as creepy as it kind of sounds, it also kind of sounds like, man, you'd have a lot of shit you wouldn't have to think about anymore.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it feels, for me, it feels like it's only a matter of time, right? Like maybe these things become more popular, and again, a lot of these systems, smart things has been around for a very long time. Home Assistant's been around for a very long time.
We're gonna look back on handmade control systems as
Just quaint, just kind of.
isn't that cute?
Now, oh, you mean you had to make sure that the drivers were supported? Oh, it didn't just work straight out of the box via threads or matter or whatever. Man, that's so quaint.
Hex code, IR. What's
Remote
that?
Central, drink.
Oh yeah, exactly. Daniel Tonks.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Phillips Pronto, drink.
it's exciting stuff, man. I mean, it really is, because that is at the heart of what we do, is being integrators, is finding solutions for making these things work together. And if your control system isn't fitting the bill, pick another control system or roll your own, right?
Yeah, I like that. So as we look at the year, to just change gears here a little bit, as we look at the year past, what are some of the episodes that stand out, and what are the ones, what are you looking forward to with the future endeavor here?
Well, I mean, I would tell you, there's a very definite point in our little podcast trail here where we went from like having guests on to just shooting a shit with each other, and I forget,
Yep.
maybe that's like episode 15 or something. And basically it's really I mean, it's just because I'm lazy, right? Like trying to coordinate trying to coordinate a guest from the CI industry and then sending them a script and making sure that everybody knows what's coming and then arranging them to log in
Be
and everything
on
else.
and
Yeah, it's a whole thing, and I'm just a lazy person at the heart, and
Okay.
that's going from that. But we had some great conversations, like having Rich Holin on was great. Like that, every time we had Russell on, that was great. Every time we had
course.
Scott Foco, I mean, the two times we had Scott Foco on in podcast 0 and in podcast like 25
right.
or something like
The
that.
patient zero.
Yeah,
Foco.
I mean, that dude, he brings such a wealth of like sales knowledge that like I've never been in a sales role, and me hearing him talk really gave a lot. So those are episodes to look for sure. Check out any of them with Scott Foco, and anytime you get a chance to talk to that dude, take it, because he's great.
Yeah, he'll build you up and tell you where the best local desserts and ice cream parlor is, because
For sure, bro.
he's a pure blood sugar monster like yours truly. So we're brothers in sacrament of sugar. We gotta throw that out there, right? But yeah, I think for me, it was just kind of the fun ones, because that's just my silly personality. But talking to Jamie and hearing about how he threw all of his world in the back of a pickup truck and drove to Alaska from Georgia, like, hell yeah,
That
brother.
was Jamie was one of the last guests we had, because I don't think anything could top like the sordid
Right.
tale of a guy going from Georgia to Alaska, not being a fugitive, just
Yeah,
doing it.
not actually fleeing Georgia, which was my first thought. I was like, okay, what did you do?
Something terrible.
But then Jamie, I mean, he's got no dirt under his fingernails. Look at that guy. He's
Guy's the best.
he's a hardworking man. Come on.
The best guy.
And talking to getting to meet and be buddies with Sean Sorensen
absolutely.
from IHI, sorry, not from IHI,
Done. You're done. You're cooked.
I am
it's
done.
A good thing this is the last
my
one.
brain is absolutely shot, man. But like being able to be tighter with these guys has been pretty cool. So I'm excited with kind of where we can take the show from here, not being bound to a particular business per se. We may be working on something more professional from that angle coming up.
There will be
for,
there will be an official one. Like that's already a foregone conclusion. Like there will absolutely be something under the Progressive banner and everything else, and that will be the official one, and a great place to get news and talk to people that are in our sphere and everything else. This is just we're taking this one and saying like, okay, this is more of a hobby now. We're going to do this not on official time. We're going to not be bound by, we're not going to run afoul of any kind of rules or anything else. Just make everybody's lives easier and just do our own thing and curse probably.
Yeah. And we're going to check in with Sean from Infinite and find out like, hey, tell us about punk rock pottery. Tell us about going on tour with NoFX. Like it doesn't have to be so industry focused. I'd like to, if we are going to have people on, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what they're about. Just try to bring that fourth wall down just a little bit and make this a little bit more engaging.
The common thread is and will always be integration, and people within this world and within this custom electronics and that kind of thing, and us integrators, that will always be the common thread. We may not always talk about integration and whatever, but showcasing personalities from this industry who maybe everybody knows, right? Maybe it's a guy you bump into at every single trade show and you guys go out drinking or whatever, and like that's the kind of thing that we are absolutely looking to get forward. I wanted to bring up and I didn't get a chance to cover it, but I think my favorite shows overall were the ones where like we had the whole team together, right? So the one from the front seat of your car with Keith and Amy in the back, like the ones that we just kind of were like, hey, it's Tuesday, we should totally just do a podcast.
Yeah,
but we're driving between Portland and Seattle. Let's go.
Cool.
So that one was good. The train, if you ignore the audio from the train ride from the airport to see
the video of that one out.
That was a pretty good one.
videos, the background, like just you can turn our volume down and just look out the window
Just the
of
show.
the
The
train.
annoyed the annoyed masses huddled around us as we
Yeah, like,
commuted.
who are these self-important
Yeah.
jerk offs in the front of the train? First of all, secondly,
Yep.
like what's going on over there at the whatever stop? You know, like looking out the window is like Mad Max. Like
Yeah.
what's going on over
We
there?
we witnessed a murder. But whatever.
I
And
hope not. I hope
that was
that
a good
was
one. And then yeah, the Cedia pre-show and then the Cedia post-show where it was all of us on the team and we're all. I mean, let me tell you, as the guy who tries to figure all this crap out, having 5 people simultaneously streaming at one time and then making that into something that was probably the biggest challenge I've had in the year of aside from figuring all this stuff out from scratch. But that was a great one too. Like everybody in there and really showcased just what a great team we have, and absolutely fortunate for that and being able to bring that. And it's not ending. We're just going to do it a little
no.
differently.
Just gonna shift it over. So, do we have a name yet? We don't have a name. We don't have a URL. You're gonna work all that stuff out
Yeah,
before.
it's always going to be Inside Integration,
Oh, okay.
and it will be the Instagram doesn't change, so it's at
Right.
inside_integration. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/at Inside Integration. Now it's our own. It's not on Oliver Marketing CI anymore because
Right.
that's going to get folded up. It's
Yep.
got its own YouTube channel, and I will share the URL for the audio only version of this podcast once we have it. I'll share a link to get it on Spotify. I'll share a link to get it on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. I will share all of that stuff in here and on our own personal LinkedIn's and that kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're separating this out. But yes, you will absolutely be able to find us. The next episode will be on at Inside Integration on YouTube if you're going to watch the video. And, you could always reach out to us and contact us and anything else, and we'll get you all that info. So
Be on Spotify. You'll be able to get it wherever, right?
everywhere. The whole idea is to get this. I mean, you can get it everywhere far and wide right now, right?
Right.
We host it. I'll dig into the nuts and bolts a little bit, right? So our Oliver Marketing website is on Squarespace. Squarespace has a mechanism to be able to post episodes and update an RSS feed. That RSS feed updates in Apple Podcasts and Spotify Connect and all these other ones. So we're taking the Squarespace part of it out. We're going to a different host. That's how we're going to disseminate this going forward, with as minimal impact as possible. So
Got
it'll be smooth. It'll be fine. But that'll be the next episode. So change your stream next week. All right.
Excellent. Well, let's get all of our followers to to do a like and subscribe. Just remember your boys. We're not going anywhere. We're just doing it a little bit differently, and maybe it'll be a little bit better. Who knows?
For the amount of followers, I mean, I'll just name them right now, and I'll tell them instructions on how to set this up on their own phone. So we got
So roll the Chiron of the names, just end credits.
yes, absolutely.
I
Mike
love
DeMarco, Anthony Chang,
Yeah, right. Patrick Coleman. Yeah,
There you
we got our guys.
Yeah,
We
thanks,
got our
guys. Appreciate
we
it.
appreciate you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to stop it here, and
I agree.
join us in the next place, and join us when we get it set up on the Progressive Podcast. That'll be a fun one too. And
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
thanks for listening.
thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out with us for the year, and check us out on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.